Putting on a puppet show. What will your puppet look like?
In the very beginning I do a lot of drawing, and you get a kind of feeling of the character you want.
Drawing.
The audience in a few minutes have to get the feeling of what their character is, so you must have good contrasts. You have good contrast between your good characters, your bad characters, your old characters, your young characters. We have the clown, who's lots of fun. We've got the girl, who's very pretty but very silly at the same time. And let's have a very bad man. So I think we're going to make him, maybe we're going to make his eyebrows come down a bit. And he could have a cross mouth, but maybe the moustache will do the same thing if we have a moustache. So that does the same thing as the mouth would have done. So he's going to look quite a bad guy. All the clues that you can give the audience are a help to them, so they know the moment they see that character what he is, or who he is, and what he's going to tell them.
What type of puppet will you make? Marionettes.
The good thing about using a marionette in a show is that, for a start, the puppeteer can be right away. We can have strings that are quite long, and we can be standing what we call on a bridge, which we're completely hidden, and all you see is the full marionette. Now, an interesting thing about marionettes is mostly you see the full figure. You've got the opportunity of doing a lot of walking and a lot of movement that uses the whole body. And that's something very special about a marionette.
Tabletop puppets.
With a tabletop figure, you get a very direct movement because you've got your hand is really close to the puppet, and that's something that's really, really good with a tabletop. That's an advantage of a tabletop figure. You can get a really positive, straight action with a tabletop figure. You see quite a direct, strong movement if you want to. You can also get the more subtler movements.
Glove puppets.
A good thing about a glove puppet is that he can pick up things and hold them. He can hold my hand there really quite well. I'm not faking it either. He's holding it tightly. And that's their advantage. They can pick up things, they can move very fast.
How will you make your puppet? Wood.
I think it's about 19 different blocks of wood that we use to make one marionette. The major tools that I'll be using for shaping the wood are really razor-sharp chisels.
Chisel.
You get flat ones and curved ones and all sorts of sizes and shapes.
Sandpaper.
The brilliant thing with sanding is you can actually take all the marks that you put onto the wood when you're chiseling, which is sort of flat shapes or curved shapes. You can actually take all those marks away and make the surface really smooth. Once I've got all the bits cut out, shaped, sanded, smoothed, and exactly the right shape and size, the really tricky, delicate part is actually making each joint. And that's to do with restricting or stopping the amount of movement in some directions and releasing and allowing movement in the other directions. This piece I've got almost to the point of final adjustments. The leg on this side is really working very nicely and smoothly, so I'm able to almost get a nice walk out of it. This leg's too stiff, so I'm just going to take it apart, chisel things, enlarge it, and then I'll get the right movement.
Making an arm. foam. Bandsaw. Scissors. Glue. What will your puppet wear?
Now we're moving on to making the costume, and the first thing to do is to measure your puppet.
Measuring.
Materials that we use for puppets need to be nice and soft, and so silk or cotton or washed out cotton. And then we sew it with needle and thread. We sew the costume up, being very careful how we sew it.
Sewing.
And then try it on the puppet. The puppet costumes need to be quite loose because the puppet needs to move freely in it. And then finally you put your buttons or your beads or whatever else you want to add, your little trimmings, and your puppet costume is done.
Baking bread.
If someone want to make bread at home and want to learn about it, it's not complicated. One thing is complicated is to be focused and to love and to want to do it.
Mixing the ingredients. Water. Flour. Yeast. Weigh carefully. Salt. Mix to make dough. Shaping the dough.
Each of our love should have a bit of love and a bit of our soul. And usually you make it right.
What shape would you make? Why not add a little extra? Seeds? Olives? Rosemary? Proving the dough. Leave to rest somewhere warm and humid.
We do not control the bread. The bread controls us. When it's ready, it's ready.
The yeast helps the dough to rise. Baking. Put in the oven at 230 degrees Celsius.
Just enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, it will work. Give it some love. Give it some love.
Designing a sandwich. The ideas meeting.
I have received the latest brief from our customer regarding sandwiches. It's for Christmas. What they're looking for is a range of sandwiches to appeal to the whole of the family. So really, creative thinking caps on. What have we got?
When we get a brief for a new sandwich, we as a team will sit down and we'll decide what flavours we think work well together, and if it was a seasonal product we'll look at what produce we think fits that time of year.
Do you think maybe we could have turkey, stuffing, cranberry?
You could go for like Boxing Day leftovers and have a lot of meat in there.
And pickles, chutneys.
And we get as many people's input as possible. No idea is a bad idea. Everyone's got their own opinion.
We could put some red in there as well, maybe like a red chutney, so you've got like, you know, Christmassy
Christmas
colours.
Yeah.
Reindeer sandwich.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a compromise sometimes between flavour and health, and it's trying to get the balance right.
Are we going
I think it's
low
best to keep
fat
it
or
indulgent, because I think you when you go for a Christmas sandwich, you really want something that tastes absolutely fantastic.
Taste testing.
Right guys, we've got a few ingredients here. We're just going to look at a few combinations to find out what works.
We'll taste things and see whether a chutney works with a certain cheese or whether it's too sweet, and we'll have a selection of chutneys, or it could be a selection of mayonnaises, and it's how it feels in the mouth, how the flavour lasts, and how well balanced it works.
Try some moister stuffing. You tried it?
I'll just put it with the ham and the cheese.
Yep.
See how that does.
That works well.
Yeah, it goes really well. Which of the chutneys do you think goes best with the turkey?
I really like this tomatoey one here. It goes with it really nicely. It's a little bit different, a bit tangy.
I'm not that keen on that one. I think the cranberry goes better.
To me, you can't beat traditional turkey and cranberry sauce.
Right.
Really great flavour.
I think we need to lift it. It's a bit boring for me.
Like it?
Yeah, that goes really well.
It's definitely about experimenting with the produce that you put into a sandwich.
So I think Turkey, stuffing, blue cheese mousse, pretty much is where the direction's going for the Christmas one, yeah?
I think.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making a sandwich. Production line. Tomato slicer. Ham slicer. Cucumber chopper. Bread conveyor. Spread dispenser. Weighing ingredients. Sandwiches cut in half. Putting in boxes. Evaluation.
We're going to be tasting one of our sandwiches against 2 competitors' sandwiches.
They don't know which is which.
We just need to make comments on appearance, aroma, flavour and texture, and then score the sandwiches overall.
Does it look good? Does it smell good? Does it taste good?
When we design a sandwich, we try to take into account all the aspects of the eating experience. It's the presentation that first gets you. So when you walk into the supermarket and you've got all your sandwiches there, we want our sandwich to jump off the shelf and be like, yes, I'm the best sandwich here, pick me. It's really playing on all the senses for the customer it's a very visual and sensual experience eating a sandwich.
Score sheet.
Out of the 3, which was your preferred and why?
I like sandwich B. I think it was definitely the best one. The turkey was really moist, the bacon was really, really tender.
I thought C was actually pretty good. It was good texture on the bread. It bounces back right. It's not too dry. I thought A was very slimy, very wet letters.
From that, we get a score of where we think our products are against our competitors. And obviously, if we start to score lower down, then that's when we start to have to re-look at our products and think, how can we improve this? How can we make it better? Because we always want to be the best.
Designing a new game. The aim of the game. Make as many players laugh as you can. Tell a joke. Into the microphone. Make a funny noise. For every player that laughs, move 1 space on the board.
A game starts with just that initial spark. The idea has to appeal to a lot of people. So we start by talking about it, playing around the idea, and then start doing some sketches of what we think it could look like. If we're confident at that point that they can go forward, we then go into production of prototypes.
Before we start designing anything, I need to sit down with the people that have written the rules, so I know how many spaces, how many sort of areas there are on the board, What I then do is that I draw a basic shape on the computer. We start off here where we've got 27 circles on the board, and they're totally regular. And we looked at that and thought, well, that's actually quite boring. That doesn't work. No one's going to enjoy playing that. You can see here that I've taken all those circles and rearranged them in a slightly crazy and odd shape, so it looks like, hold on, I don't know where I'm going as you're moving around it. And then we take those circles and start colouring them up. The colours are important for two reasons. Number one, they help to define exactly where you are in the game, whereabouts you are on the board. And also it helps to give a sense of fun. And then finally we add all the things like the logos and instructions that are necessary on the board. So, because people would need to know where to start, where to put their pieces, when they're the winner, where to finish. If we had more than 27 squares, we felt the game goes on too long and people get bored. If we have less than 27 squares, then the game ends too quickly and you can't determine who's really played it well. Once we've got a rough design, we then print out different versions in different colours and send them off to different people to play. And here is our first design, ready to be tested.
Today we're getting the game tested by 6 10-year-olds. We feel they're the right age group to aim it at. It's very important, this, because I need to know, are the jokes right? I need to know, do the sounds actually make them laugh? I need to know the gameplay that we've developed. Is it simple enough for them to follow? And the design as well. I'd like their opinions on the design.
What's grey and zooms through the jungle at 70 miles an hour? An elephant on a motorbike.
What do you get if you cross kitchen equipment with a vampire? Count spatula.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Boo hoo.
Don't get upset, it's only a game.
Feedback time.
I thought it was really fun because the colours are really appealing and it's easy to play. There should be a lot more variety of jokes and maybe some for older people as well.
I thought the game was easy to play. As soon as you read the instructions, I think you can get it quite easily.
Good range of jokes. The simple gameplay we already have. The design is well liked. Could be a good game. I'm really pleased with it.
Toy testing.
So use and abuse testing is primarily done to see if we can break things off a toy to simulate what would happen if a child breaks it, pulls it, smacks it onto a door frame, drops it out of the car. The talk test is used to simulate what happens if a child pulls oddly on a toy.
Twist the toy to see if it breaks.
The small part cylinder has been very carefully designed to mimic the inside of a 3-year-old's mouth and throat cavity. Anything that fits wholly inside this could be swallowed, might get stuck in the throat and cause that child to choke.
Not suitable for under 3 years.
The impact test is performed by dropping a weight of 1 kilogram from a height of 100 millimeters onto the test piece. After impact testing, we look to see if any sharp edges, sharp points or small pieces are broken off. If the pieces fit inside the small part cylinder, then it would be deemed to be unsafe for under 3s.
Not suitable for under 3 years.
The drop test is performed from a height of 850mm into a tank of specified hardness. The article is dropped 5 times, and at the end of testing we look to see if anything has dropped or broken off, and we test those for sharp edges, sharp points and small parts.
The burning test.
When testing material from fancy dress outfits, we'll take a length of material that's 500mm, we will attach it to the rig, and then we're going to set fire to that and measure the time it takes for the flame to spread from the bottom of the material up to the top of the material. When testing different materials, we'll find different rates of flame spread. Some will burn fast, some will burn slower.
Do not try this at home.
Depending on how fast the flame spreads determines whether it's a pass and if it's deemed to be safe.
Safe time, over 16 seconds. But needs a warning label.
All toys will need to be tested for flammability. This is to ensure that they are safe, and we basically set fire to them to see how fast they burn. Depending on the type of toy that we're testing, we will test it in different ways. We will adjust the flame height, we will apply the flame to the toy itself in different ways, and we'd also measure it from different distances.
Don't try this at home.
Although the teddy bear burned completely, it took enough time for the flames to spread to the top of the bear, so it was deemed to be a pass and to be safe. This would mean that if the teddy bear caught fire, the child would have enough time to actually drop the teddy bear and move away.